your money's going to grow, instead of the opposite, which is what a lot of us have experienced, the cost to our health to get where we got. So this paradigm shift of, okay, because I do believe your authenticity and your well-being is the new money magnet. There's a shift that's happened where it's like, if you've gone to an event recently, you can energetically pick out the people in the room that you want to do business with. There's just something about them. It's like there's been a big shift energetically. So you want to be that person who has this energy that you can't language,
right,
but you just want to work with these people.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of, that's a business card. You don't need print. You want to be that person, and that's really what my book teaches and what I teach. A couple of simple things is obviously how you fuel your body, bringing mindfulness practices. I also teach having sort of a recipe for when you're feeling deflated or out of energy, having sort of a little recipe for how to quickly get yourself back on track. Know where you're leaking energy, where you need to plug some energy leaks, to people, to saying yes to too many things but not the right things, where you need to learn to say no to some things that you're good at but you shouldn't be doing anymore, because plugging those energy links is only going to make you healthier. And choices, how it's almost like taking a class for how to make good choices in life that are going to up your energy and up your health, and not wait till a crisis to make health changes.
Yeah,
preventative maintenance.
Yeah, no, you're right. And real quick on that energy, just for our listeners, when I first started hearing about energy levels and positive vibrations, at first it was hard to grasp until somebody said, have you ever walked into a room where there's a couple in there and they're fighting, and you instantly know that something's going on in that room because you feel like, the weight of the world because they're in this argument? That would be negative energy. And then other times you can walk into a room and just feel like, oh, what a great place to be. That's positive energy. And I think being able to identify that and then exude that is so important in our lives to be successful. But not only in success with business, but just in life in general, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the things, again, this isn't a conversation for everybody. Not everybody is ready to ask these questions, but I really ask myself, where am I not being in my truth? If I'm having a wellness business, but I'm not taking care of myself, I'm sort of living a lie.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to teach something, there's a big responsibility to leadership that I feel not everybody is committed to authentically leading. It's easy to look perfect and everything's got going on social media, but at the end of the day, it's the truth, right? So it's to have those conversations with yourself to say, okay, if health is a value, and it better be, because what's the point of having money if we don't have health?
That's right.
Then where do I need to be a little more authentic and take better care of myself? Or what am I teaching that I'm not doing? And it's not about feeling terrible. It's just about being committed. And so for me, over the summer, having my kids at home and not doing my yoga practice, but I'm not going to be hard on myself. I did what I could. I shifted it to a half-hour walk, and fit it in. Like today, we go to the gym. My husband's going to take the kids playing basketball, and I'm going to do my walk. So it's not my regular practice, but I make sure that I put myself first, because if I don't, what am I teaching my kids?
Yeah.
Be a hot mess. And so I think we have this big responsibility to teach our children to lead. And that means we have to do it, not tell them to do it, but we don't do it. And I have such a passion for that, especially working with moms, because they put themselves last. They don't set boundaries, and they often don't ask for help. And then they're trying to raise little ones, and they want them to lead. And we don't want to be parents who live through our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to show them the way and be joyful and be amazing and have our kids look at us and say, wow, I am so proud of my parents.
Yeah. Well,
which is probably a different topic, but but I mean, my husband and I are very, we have our kids drink green juice with us. They come to yoga. We have an organics food company. We make sure that they're seeing why health is important, but that we live health. And I'm doing a holistic wealth retreat this fall, and my kids are going to come. So I want them to see what we're doing in the world. They don't have to love everything we do, but sure. I want them to be part of our truth and how we're serving, and hopefully mindfulness and kindness and health will be something that they want to continue on with.
I'll tell you a quick funny story about my kids. So I'm in the wine business, and we also try to involve our kids in our lives and what we're doing. But to have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old walking around saying, "Hey, Daddy, it's time for some Baja wine," or "We're going to get some Baja wine," or "There's Baja wine," maybe a little premature, but they're very aware of what Mommy and Daddy do, and I love that. And we actually donate a percentage of our profits back to orphanages in Mexico, and we've taught our kids about that practice, and they love to go to Mexico, and they've already sacrificed some of their own toys. But I think what you're saying is it's so important to involve your family to the level that you can and what you're doing and who you really are.
Yeah, and I feel like they just make me want to be better.
Yeah.
And, I know the days where I lose my patience or I'm not beaming well-being. I just look at them and I'm like, oh, like I have to do such a good job for you guys, without being hard on myself and giving myself permission. And I think that's one of the things for parents. It's like we don't have to be perfect. Give ourselves permission that today's a new day. And I try to just not make things a pattern that don't bring me the results that I seek.
Yeah.
I try to course correct quickly. But again, it's all a learning process.
Leanne, could you give us a closing thought here? I know this is going to be one of those podcasts where my listeners are going to be asking me for more. I'm going to drive them straight to your website, straight to your book, and straight to your seminars. But can you give us a closing thought on who you are or what you want to share with the world? You have so much. I don't want to pick.
Yeah. I think the one piece of wisdom that I have heard regularly that I think is so valuable is that this lifetime is not a rehearsal. Mm-hmm. And so if there's an area that you aspire to be that maybe you're not seeing the results right now in your life, and again, this is going to be a little podcast plug, but just say yes to it. Like if you have that intuitive nudge that keeps coming back, that's telling you to take the leap or to do that thing or to say yes to that person, and it keeps coming back and your intuition is like trying to get your attention, to just have the courage to do it. And it might mean finding a few people that you really trust and admire to be there beside you, because it can be a little bit scary. But, just live like you got one shot and you're going to be bold and courageous and go for it. And just don't be afraid to fail. I guess that would be what I'd love to leave everybody with.
I love it. It's absolutely perfect for the show. What's your web address and where can people find you?
So it's leannejacobs.com and or on Instagram. My Instagram handle is holistically, okay. L-E-E at the end.
And Leanne Jacobs, LeanneJacobs.
Yes.
I've gone through your website. You've got some beautiful things on there. You've got some classes. You've got your book. I would encourage our listeners to check it out because I feel so much more fulfilled now that I've heard your story and listened to some of your wisdom here. I got more than I expected today. I really appreciate it.
Well, sometimes
that.
I don't know where to focus, and it's like, got like it's a new world for me, right? Because I built a lot of my first chapter of entrepreneurship single without kids, and now it's like taking the next level with a young family. It's a whole other set of new habits you have to develop. And I love hearing that you're in the same boat and all of the incredible things you're doing. So thank you for inspiring us all.
It's been a great journey. I'm going to leave the last thought is think about your ROI in life. Make your decisions based on that. And please check out Leanne Jacobs. Leanne, thank you so much for being on the show.
And thank you for having me.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that show as much as I did. I just really enjoyed getting to know Leanne. I'm going to read a little piece off of her website because I think it's really cool. It's really aligned with how I feel, and I'm very optimistic about business in the future and working with people. And she says on her website that she always believed that living authentically, mindfully, and with kindness is the true key to lasting prosperity. And I just think that we get so much further in life, the kinder we are, the nicer we are, and the more willing we are to help others. And it goes along with what I've often talked about in the last several months about giving people value up front. You know, Dave Mentor says, give 5 times the value up front and it'll come back to you. And I've really seen that in my own personal life the last 60 days by putting it to work every day, throwing that out there, good vibrations, being kind to other people, and allowing that to come back. And I've fostered some old relationships back into new, fresh relationships. I've taken relationships that I had just on a smaller level and built them up to be much larger. And I've been so rewarded in that process, not only with friends and people that I've gotten to know outside of the house, but with my family too, and really putting my priorities in line, publishing my goals to myself and my family and where I'm headed. And I've just seen the results of that. So I want to encourage you to do the same. As I've mentioned before, when you get up in the morning, talk about having a life of more than enough, writing down the things that you have, things that you're grateful for, and get into your day started with just the gratitude of all the things that you have. And my traditional sign-off is what you believe is what you will achieve by Mark Victor Hansen. I've been believing that since 1986. By the way, if you saw my Instagram post last week, in 1987, I saw Pat Riley do a public speaking engagement. He was with the Lakers coaching at the time, and I was so enamored with public speaking and, you know, these people that are out there motivating others. I always thought, gosh, that's what I want to do. Well, 30 years later, I finally just signed a contract to do some public speaking keynote addresses with the Hagar Agency, and they're out on the East Coast. So I've got an agent now, and I'm hoping that I can turn this into something. I'm going to give it my best. I've got kind of my story unfolding on paper and how I'm going to share some of the things that I've done, and hopefully people will learn from others. And I can also tell them about some of the guests we've had on this show. So I'd love to hear from you. If you've got questions, you think you have something that would be good for the show, let me know. I've gotten a few guests that way. And please share this if you've enjoyed it. Put it on your Instagram, social media, what have you. Share our links. They can find us on iTunes or Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and several others. So thank you for tuning in. I look forward to delivering another great podcast next week. Until then, take care.